Here we are, world. Episode 6.
We're still at it, episode 6.
We're still at it. We're landlined in. We should be good to go. No internet issues, hopefully. So we're going to knock on wood for that. We're going to kick off a little NFL. It's going to be more home-based and kind of like our teams.
Local, yeah.
Talk.
Yeah, and our personal.
Just because, I mean, there isn't really anything going on. We'll start talking about the NFL more once the draft comes back. This will probably be our last week discussing the NFL.
Unless anything else comes out that's notable, you know.
Definitely. But the Bears, they end up signing a tight end from the Packers, Justin Perillo. What do you think of that?
Honestly, I don't really know much about him. I know he didn't really play he didn't play as many games.
He played 20 games for the Packers.
I think he's going to kind of just play the role of the blocking tight end, maybe.
Yeah.
Just because we do have Zach Miller, and I think he has proved that he's a worthy tight end. It's just a matter of getting a quarterback to be able to throw to a tight end. You know what I mean?
Yeah, definitely.
Because Zach Miller had a great year. I thought he played well. He looked well. He was catching balls. He runs routes good. So I'm assuming this signing has to do with just more depth. Maybe a guy who blocks. I don't see him catching a lot of passes in this offense, but and it's sort of funny because it seems like the Bears and the Viking and just the NFC North in general, we just shuffle players back and forth.
Yeah.
Like
big rivalries, but just kind of trade amongst each other. It is weird.
Like we just kind of flip it. You can go back through the years and you can see how many players have gone from the Bears to the Vikings and vice versa, and then we get Packers. Julius Peppers, then he goes to the Packers, and it's just so funny because in a division you play each team so many times, so you see their players and you say like, all right, that guy's I've watched him play, we've scouted him enough, so I think if the Bears sign him, I think obviously he's not going to start. Zach Miller is going to be the starter.
I like what you said about him being more the protector and the blocker.
Yeah,
because he was with the Packers from 2014 to 2016, and he only had 15 receptions for 137 yards through those 20 games. So he probably will primarily be that person they're not going to risk the main tight end getting injured.
Yep.
You go and be the blocker and stuff
he's
like
going to be a guy that can get in there, do the dirty work, doesn't need to catch as many balls. You know what I mean? He's not out there asking for targets and stuff. He's just, I mean, and the Packers are a great organization. So it's getting a guy like that who was on the Packers for 2 seasons. Yeah. And obviously the Packers were willing to have him on their roster for as long as they did. So obviously he's worth something. But not necessarily a huge storyline, but for the Bears, it's nice to see them making some moves, sort of, you know, getting things going.
Definitely. A bigger storyline with them, the Jimmy Garoppolo from the Patriots, if they make him available. I've heard that he is for a high price. Like, do you really think that the Bears are going to go for him if he actually is on the table?
The goal for the Bears, and I think it's pretty easy to see, and even if you're not a diehard fan, we need a quarterback.
Yeah.
In the NFL, you need a quarterback. Yes, Jimmy Garoppolo has proved through the little games that he's played, though, he may be a product of the New England system, but at least it gets Bears fans something to be excited about, rather than the shrump face of of Jay Cutler just being
on
just
the side
pouty and just. I mean, Jay has always had flashes of brilliance. He's always, you can see why he was a sought-after quarterback when he was. You can see why he got the contract he did. But, I mean, the amount of turnovers and, I mean, you know Jay Cutler by now. That's what he is. That's who he is. He's not going to get any better. So, cut ties with him. If Jimmy is, if that is who's on the market for us, we're going to have to give up the 3rd overall pick, but in my eyes, that is fine. That's fine with me because I do like the pieces we have. Our defense went leaps and bounds better. We had one of the highest salary cap that were in IR. So like guys that we pay good money to and guys who we expect to produce for us, were just injured. Mm-hmm. So I think let's get these guys healthy. Let's get. I would like to see Jimmy Garoppolo. Mm-hmm. I think he's athletic. He showed movement. He showed movement in his feet.
Is Alshon Jeffries a free agent, or are they just somebody that they're looking to trade?
They're looking to trade him. Because
but if you have somebody like Jimmy Garoppolo, don't you keep that piece?
You could, but then again, we do have younger wide receivers. I mean, Meredith came out last year, played awesome. Kevin White's still coming off injury. We still have Eddie Royal. So it's kind of weird because Alshon has all these weird soft tissue injuries.
Yeah.
And from what I've heard from fantasy football podcasts that I've listened to, injury experts are very skeptical on soft tissue injuries, especially in wide receivers, guys who are cutting and moving. So he's been riddled with injuries his career. He's kind of been not enough, but you see when he is on the field, he is an elite wide receiver.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, if we get a wide receiver, or if we get a quarterback, I think Jimmy Garoppolo could fit in well. I think a veteran.
Is Jimmy Garoppolo very good, or is he
a product of the system? That's the ultimate. I think that's even what the Bears are asking themselves. I think they're wondering, is he worth this high price that the Patriots are trying to get for him? But then again, the Patriots, you've seen them have the ability to take guys who are not necessarily sought after commodities and making them into elite players. They just won the Super Bowl with their best wide receiver is Julian Edelman, who's 6 foot. He's not even 6 foot. He's just they have all these little speedy guys that go around, but Jimmy worked well in that offense. So
yes, he did.
I think the skills are there, and I think obviously
have to form around that kind of mimic their system.
Right, and obviously if the Bears are going to do their due diligence and looking into the whole situation. It's kind of been tough for me to trust their judgment on when it comes to quarterbacks because of the history we've had, but I'd like to see it. Like I said, it gives Bears fans something to look forward to. So,
you guys still aren't that removed from the Super Bowl not too long ago.
Yeah,
there's still potential there. There's still potential on the team.
I think the number one thing that the Bears need to do to be successful next season is just get healthy.
Yeah.
Because we were in some close games. I mean, we had just the injuries were just ridiculous.
Devastating.
I mean, our entire defense seemed like every other week we had another injury
going out.
Our best defensive player, Pernell McPhee's done. Like, you know what I mean? When you see these guys going down, and they were having good seasons up to then, the defense was exceeding expectations. Mm-hmm. The guys that we picked up off free agency, Danny Trevathan, and it was molding. Things were going well for the defense. So get the quarterback in there, get healthy, and just trust John Fox's. He's a veteran coach. He's been in the league. He's been to Super Bowls. So I think trust his judgment and just kind of follow him and see what we can do for next season.
Yeah, definitely.
But so we talked a little bit about the Bears, but I know your favorite team, the Titans, which I have always liked the Titans ever since I saw them in the Super Bowl against the Rams. So the Titans had a decent season this year. They had a lot of up things that they seemed like they were on the up. I almost said DeMarcus Cousins. DeMarco Murray. Seemed
good
like
piece for him.
Great piece. So
a good piece for them.
What do you think? How do you think the Titans' outlook is this coming season?
Mariota obviously showed that he can be the quarterback for the Titans. And he can make the passes, he can move, but he doesn't move too much. He's not like a Vic where you have to or an RG3 where he's risking getting injured, even though he was injured this year. the pieces around him with Delaney Walker, DeMarco Murray has been awesome for us.
And even they have a great backup in Derrick Henry.
Oh my
Heisman-winning running back.
Yep. And we just need to, stay healthy, just like the Bears. But I mean,
they need that big-time wide receiver.
Yes,
they need that big target.
We do need a good wide receiver. And the last wide receiver that I really liked was Kenny Britt.
Yeah, and he had a few great
seasons with us.
He has some highlights that are fun to watch.
We just haven't really had somebody like that or even close to that level or better in a while. And we really need somebody that Mariota can connect with on deep because we already have the short stuff covered.
Delaney's a monster when it comes to that.
Downfield
chew up yards
stuff.
with DeMarco. The defense, again, like the Bears, sort of exceeded expectations. They were kind of porous there towards the end, but they were good against the run. They can run the ball. I did see a report just before we started the show. They were speculating maybe Alshon.
Yeah.
Because I think that's what they need, that big, bruising wide receiver, big hands that Mariota can just get that connection with and can kind of build that relationship around.
Yeah, I agree with you there.
But yeah, again, not a whole lot going in the NFL. Obviously, the Super Bowl. Last week's show, if you want to hear us talk about the Super Bowl, we did a pretty lengthy segment on that. But we're going to shift into the NBA a little bit. Like we said, we like to open up the NBA segment, with my player of the week. We've been trying to kind of tweak this segment a little bit, just because it's not necessarily a player of the night, not necessarily a player of the weekend. So the way I'm going to kind of transition it is just a guy who had a couple, maybe 2-3 great games during the week. Just someone to highlight who's on the up. So this week it's going to be Nikola Jokic, center for the Denver Nuggets. If you've watched any NBA lately, you know in NBA circles, people are raving about this kid. He's young. He's one of those new age centers who have the ability to run the floor, pass, dribble. He's just sort of a all-around great player. So against the Knicks, he had a career-high 40 points, 9 rebounds, 2 steals, and 5 assists. And then the next game against the Cavs, 27 points, 13 rebounds, 4 assists. So he's doing it in big chunks. He's constantly a part of these big highlight plays. I mean, his passing is arguably, for a big man, he's one of the best passers in the NBA. He has so many just passes that make you think like, wow, this is insane that he can even do this at his size. So, and as a foreign player, I like to see, maybe it's the culmination of we haven't seen that really sort of polarizing European player since Dirk, or some guy who fans like and stuff like that.
Dirk's
so
getting towards the end.
Yeah. And I hate to see.
He's been on a good hot streak lately.
He has. But so my player of the week is Jokic. He's almost single-handedly
balled at the Garden.
He almost pulled the Denver into the 8th seed himself, because now that they've just dealt Yusuf Nurkic, which we'll get into a little bit more of trade talks and speculations like that later in the segment, but dealing Nurkic for them is great for Jokic, because Jokic and Nurkic, it's kind of a funny thing to say back and forth, but Jokic and Nurkic didn't really mesh well on the court, because Jokic is a true 5. He plays better at the 5, and that's Nurkic's position. So I think dealing him is going to be great for Jokic. I think just for his career is going to blossom. I think if he can avoid injuries, he's going to be one of the top players in the NBA.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, he's in Denver, so he doesn't necessarily get the notoriety, and he is foreign, but I'm telling you, if you get this kid on a primetime game, people are going to start talking about him. People are already raving about him. So, player of the week, Jokic. If you haven't watched any of his highlights, go do that. He's a great player. He's only going to get better. So this Denver team, they definitely hit pay dirt when they drafted Jokic.
Yeah. My Miami, we were talking about a little bit the Heat last week, and how they had the 10-game win streak going, and they got it all the way up to 13. It's still the longest.
That's hard to do.
Yeah,
is hard to do.
It's the longest in the NBA this season. Nobody's gotten further.
If you would have told me
Warriors, nothing.
that the Miami Heat, with the roster that they had, were going to have the longest win streak in the NBA this season, I would have thought you were crazy.
I mean, and Dragic flourished through it.
Absolutely.
Getting back to what you would see in like the Phoenix days and stuff, where he's getting to the rim, he's creating shots for others.
He's a fun player to watch.
Yes,
too.
he is.
Underrated.
He really makes
very
it exciting.
Underrated.
Hassan obviously makes it exciting, but he's not very team centric. He's worked well lately, and it's been awesome. But yeah, just wanted to mention that. They lost 109 to 117.
And they're sort of like in like this purgatory stage because
they are
entering the season. It just made sense for them to tank.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there's those teams that you see the roster. It's almost there, but it's not quite there. And you trust Pat Riley and the organization, so you think, okay, maybe this is the year to tank. Maybe we'll deal Dragic for some picks, and then they go on a 13-game win streak.
Yeah,
and now they're vying for a playoff spot, and you're like, okay, well. Are they gonna now push for the playoffs?
Yeah.
But then kind of be left out to dry when it comes draft time, and then they don't necessarily have the roster to be elite. So like I said, they're kind of stuck in this like purgatory.
Yeah, what to do, and it makes you wonder if Spoelstra is getting any. I mean, it shows you he is a good coach. A lot of people give him grief and say anyone would have won 2 of the championships with that team and all this.
I think
that,
he did
whatever.
a hell of a job.
He did a good job with all those egos and stuff. Yeah, he managed it very well. And it goes to show you that even when you have they're a winning order. They want to win. As much as I'm sure they want to tank.
Like I said, if Pat Riley has anything to do with it, they'll be relevant again,
and if anything,
very soon.
This is helping the credibility of the organization. If anything,
of course,
Spoelstra going on that 13-game win streak, it's helping the fans.
Letting go of Dwayne Wade.
Yes, letting go of one of the best, if not the best player we've had in franchise history. And man, yeah, it's just it's getting the community more involved. I'm sure they're like, oh, they're on a win streak. Let's go see it, dude.
Yeah,
you know, you're gonna go watch because you want to see him go, especially if you're from South Beach and you're right there.
They're playing fun basketball. So if Dion Waiters is hitting shots like that, I can't imagine.
Mean, why not keep going,
right?
KD had his infamous return to OKC.
Very, very hyped. Probably up to this point, considering
Cavs LeBron when he left to Miami,
and
big thing like that.
and I'm talking in this season in general. Probably one of the most hyped games outside of the finals rematch on Christmas Day, but
I bet this season
holy
for sure.
Smokes,
that was the biggest because people wanted to see what happened, and tempers flared.
I thought it was awesome. I thought it was absolutely awesome. I think more games should be like that. You could that's a game where you wish you were there because you could just feel the electricity through your television.
Mm-hmm.
Just the way he came out and the mixed signals, boos and. I knew he was going to get booed. And one thing I did want to, the whole cupcake thing. Okay, I'm gonna take a second to talk about the cupcakes, because if you honestly think that Kevin Durant is soft, and you're walking around with a cupcake on your shirt, and then you are so misinformed. You are just a pissed off fan. Who you just feel bad because your favorite player left your team, but he is not soft. His blocks are up. He's playing better than ever. He's a man, and he wanted to do what he wanted to do.
He dropped 34 on you. You might as well take the cupcake shirts off and throw them in the trash on your way out of the building.
And I thought it was even funnier at the end where Draymond and Steph are both wearing the shirts, sort of mocking the fans like, "Hey, we beat you by 20." And
they were up by 20 basically the whole game.
And to see how poorly Westbrook played also during that game, Westbrook's one of those players where
he normally lives up to that stuff.
He lets sometimes the emotion of the night
overrun,
because then he shoots, and he just if the
he
shot's
wanted
not
to single-handedly take out that team in the home crowd.
And I don't blame him at all because
he's
the guy there now. He's the one that everybody in Oklahoma City worships Russell Westbrook now,
Mm-hmm.
just like they did. I mean, he just basically slid up on the podium once Durant left. So I think Durant had every right to go in there and just ball out with his new situation. And on the other side, I think Oklahoma City, those players had every right to be chippy and be aggressive, and you could see the way they're talking and yelling at each other. I think that's great. I think it's great for sports. Obviously sucks for Oklahoma City fans because you lost your best player, and then to see him come back, and if you actually thought that the Thunder were going to win that game, again, you're very misinformed because this Golden State team is on another level. So
what's with Cantor always coming at KD now too?
He's
literally the first one off the bench.
They must have.
He's probably the enforcer on that team, and he steps up to take that
you don't
role.
know what kind of dynamic they had when he was on the team.
Yeah.
During practices, who was getting chippy with who?
Yeah, Cantor might not have liked KD the whole time.
Exactly.
And the fact that
they
he
might
left
have
when they had such a good situation.
Of course.
It's like, dude, you were one game. I mean, as much as KD can do whatever he wants. I mean, he's a free agent. He can sign with any team he wants. If he wanted to go there, he can go there. But, I mean, I probably would have been pretty upset if I was an OKC fan.
Oh, my goodness.
I know Log was upset about it. He doesn't watch too much basketball, but he likes OKC.
I'm a fan of the player Kevin Durant.
Yeah.
So, especially, I like the way he handled it. He didn't handle it like LeBron. He didn't basically give Oklahoma City the finger.
Well, he
gave them 9 years.
LeBron.
He basically built that franchise on his back. Mm-hmm. He was the guy that hauled them and gave them notoriety. Mm-hmm. So to see fans just dissing him, it's just so narrow-minded, and you just need to look at the entire situation in those years that he was on your team, and he gave you those great years. So in that small market, so.
I've noticed a lot of the old school, like the tough-nosed, old school players don't like it as much though.
No,
a lot of more
they're
new,
stuck in their ways. They're not.
They don't. That's why the old school players really like Westbrook a lot.
Even though
because he's a hard-nosed guy.
Yeah, a lot of them all did the same thing and went to try to get Karl Malone. Was with the Jazz forever, got super close. Went to the Lakers at the end of his career to try to get a ring when Kobe was there and stuff.
But see, now
Shaq went all over the place to try to get a ring.
Everyone loves Shaq.
Everyone loves Shaq. He was on 5 different teams.
Yeah, I mean, it may have been harder to move around back then, but it's hard too because they make such a big deal out of championships nowadays that what do you want me to do?
That's it. That's the only thing that people talk about.
That determines. And that's the funny thing with football. Brett Favre is considered one of the all-time greats, and he just won once.
Right, and he jumped ship to Minnesota across the way
Jets,
in the division.
He went everywhere. He's still considered one of the best ever, and he only has one. In basketball, Dirk is considered one of the best. Mm-hmm. But he had so much talent with that one ring. The one ring just validated what you knew about him.
Right. But that's what it does. That's what a championship does.
Yes.
A championship brings you to that level.
But
even though it doesn't make you a better player,
one of the all-time greats in basketball, you have to have multiple.
You have to have multiple. Yes.
You have to have, I think, 3 or more to be considered one of the best.
One of the best of all time.
Yeah, I mean, Hakeem Olajuwon. He only had 2, but I mean his play also goes along with that, and he won back-to-back. So I mean you have to take into consideration he's one of the few franchises that repeated. But
it's like Keith said, it's all about the media has built up championships so much.
Yes,
in just every sport, it's all about how many championships you have. And I think Kevin Durant was thinking long term, and he's thinking, okay, I can re-sign with Oklahoma City, and we did get close, but I just felt like with that roster and the way that Westbrook and him, they meshed, but yet they were almost just 2 really good players on a good team, but they could only go so far because their skill sets don't necessarily mesh. So,
do you think this is the same story if he would have waited after this season to see where they would have gotten and then left? Or do you think it's a whole different story after that?
I think it probably would be because then it is that redemption how they were up 3-1. So it is that okay, and then if they fail and then boom, then he can leave and it's probably less of a stab in the back. So no, I totally think that maybe he should sign like a 1 year with a 1 year like option. That might have been a good idea, just because.
But that would just be the pain on it. That would be.
Yeah.
That'd be.
And then that's denying the inevitable, because he's gonna leave eventually. But
the writing on the wall there.
But yeah, so other team, top of the league, Cavs.
Yeah.
They've looked better. They're hitting a stride with Kyle Korver. He's feeling a little bit more adjusted. They seem like a team who's they're constantly making moves and taking the scum of the NBA and just trying to turn them into like a viable piece.
It works, though.
They're the Patriots of the NBA.
Yeah, right. So they signed Derek Williams, who former, I believe, number 2 overall pick.
Yeah.
Anyway, he was a great
2-10
Yeah, great college basketball player. Came to the NBA, had high expectations. Kind of doesn't really do much but score. So, but that's kind of what the Cavs need him to do. But
yeah, that's really, they need him to score and play some D.
But that's just
hit that jumper that we throw you in the corner.
Yeah,
and get your ass back to the other.
Because he had a few stints when he was with the Knicks. He was putting up some decent games, 25, 30-point games. But I don't think he's going to be nearly as effective on the Cavs. I think it's going to be another one of those things where he kind of fizzles out. But then it's just the Cavs are so. You just see a LeBron team. They're so active.
Yep.
They're not only. They're not only like the best team in the league and the most with LeBron, but they're constantly getting players, trying to find free agents, trying to find a guy for 50 cents on the dollar. A guy that's cheap, but they think, okay, well, if he's playing under LeBron, maybe he'll exceed our expectations. So,
yeah.
But I think it's a great thing to keep them relevant, keep them fresh, and keep them going.
Yeah, they're definitely trying to almost vet stack.
Yeah, that's just what it seems.
They're trying to do anything and everything to defend their title.
Yeah.
That's
all
they
LeBron
look across the country and they see what type of force is going to be coming their
waiting
way.
For them, yeah.
And they're trying to do they're scrambling before February 23rd to get a good piece.
Because LeBron knows that series that they had in the finals, whether you believe it or not, that entire series changed when Draymond was suspended.
Yeah.
So now that they have another piece on top, they're gonna have. Hopefully they'll have Draymond back. Hopefully he's healthy, and then they add Kevin Durant. So I think LeBron's probably the smartest player in the NBA. He has you can't argue with the guy's basketball IQ. He knows how to win a championship. He knows exactly what it takes, and I think, like you said, he's looking over on the other side of the country, seeing the juggernaut, and seeing how unselfish and how they kind of have everything just going.
They're grooving.
They're going good. They're seamless transition.
7 losses.
That's what. Yeah, and like I said, they're really not getting as much media attention as they did last year. Think about it. Everything was about Steph last year. Everything Steph. He was the face of the league.
Yep.
And now taking a back seat, kind of. They're even with Durant, they're still kind of just coasting under the radar. People are just like, all right, they're going to be in the finals, so let's not really talk about them. They're obviously the best, so and so. So I think LeBron's worried, and I would be too if I was in his position.
Oh my gosh, yeah, I would definitely be worried.
But then so another team that's surging right now with one of the top 3 players in the NBA, probably.
Oh yeah.
The Houston Rockets. I mean, they've won, 40 of 57 this
40
year?
of 57. And this time last year, they were 27 and 28. So give it up to Mike D'Antoni for creating an offense that James Harden, and not only James Harden, but the team can thrive.
It's not just James Harden, and you're not just leaning on it.
He's basically averaging a triple-double. 21.9 points, 11-3 on assists, and 8.2 rebounds.
See, because that's, like we've said on previous shows, that's the allure of the triple-double.
Yeah.
What's 2 rebounds in the scheme of things?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But James Harden is averaging almost 30 points, 11 assists.
His career
he's right there.
is 21-9, 5-5, and 4-9. He's in running for MVP and most improved player.
Oh yeah,
that's insane.
That is true. Yeah, it's funny to say that he's the most improved player because of how good he played last year, but just on his impact alone with the assists and just he's trying on defense.
Yes, he is trying this year.
He is sort of what I look to as a superstar who's buying in. You know what I mean? Sometimes Russell Westbrook kind of doesn't really seem like he's just kind of freelance doing his own shit. So I like to see James Harden.
He's getting basically a triple-double through his offense, working very
while his team
collectively
is
with his
succeeding
group.
and just they are going to be a scary team.
I mean, he's only 27. He's got, minus injury, he's got a nice-looking career ahead of him. And I just hope the best for him because he's a fun player to watch. Just like Dragic, they're slashers and they create mind-boggling
crossovers. James Harden can hit a three at basically any point on the floor with anyone in his face.
That night they got 40 wins. They did it, and Harden got 40 points on only 17 shots.
He's efficient.
It's crazy. That's incredible.
But yeah, along this streak that they've had, they're NBA's third best net efficiency rating. So they're efficient too.
Yeah.
They're not
they're
not just throwing up a bunch of threes and then a few of them are going in and then it's kind of just working out. They're being efficient.
Yep.
They're playing defense better than they have been. James Harden's buying in on the defensive side of the floor and that's still not taking away from his offensive side, which he's improved on from last year, where he had a really great season. So I think this is sort of the culmination of James Harden's career at the Rockets. I think this is where it can be, and I think this is where it will be, and I think they can just only get better after the All-Star break.
I wanted to give a quick... I forgot to mention it back when we were talking about OKC and the Warriors. I just wanted to give a quick shout-out to Draymond, that triple-double he had.
Oh, without
points.
Where
he had 4 points, 12 rebounds, 10 assists, and 10 steals. First player in history to ever record a triple-double without points being one of the stats.
Wild. That just shows
the team.
Yes.
The environment. He doesn't care about scoring.
He doesn't.
I'll do everything else you guys want me to do.
He doesn't. Yeah, he doesn't have to take a shot if he doesn't want to the whole game. You know?
What do you call that? You call that a team.
A team, exactly.
Literally,
a team.
You're getting a lot of these guys that are getting paid way too much.
Just to be just as singular players.
Like DeMarcus Cousins.
The team has
needs to be put in an environment that's like the Miami Heat, where it's like military ran.
Right.
Pat Riley has that thing gripped.
With a vet with Kevin Garnett, or like a vet that's like, hey man, you need to get your shit straight.
Yes. Yeah, and that's part of the reason why LeBron left. They weren't letting him do things his way.
He wasn't
Pat
able to.
Riley had a hold on that. And
He's
like, no, I'm gonna go back home.
I'm gonna go back and tell Dan Gilbert every move that I want to do, and he's gonna be like, yes, sir, LeBron. Yes. No problem, Mr. James.
Yes, you just made me worth another half.
Exactly.
I'm glad that you wanted us to add an injury segment to this week's episode, and we're going to continue giving injury updates each week.
Just because it's
nice, fun to have.
Yeah.
Anyone that plays fantasy out there, you're going to get a little info and stuff. But we got Chris Paul. He's out till at least March with a torn ligament in his left thumb. Rudy Gay, season-ending, ruptured his Achilles. Zach LaVine and Jabari Parker, both with an ACL tear. Jabari tore the same knee that he tore the year before, or 2 years prior. Nikola Pekovic, he is done for the season with ankle and foot injuries, just chronic injuries throughout his career.
As a big man,
and he may retire. He's now considering retiring, so he was in the league for quite a while.
He was effective on the Timberwolves, too. He's a good offensive player.
Yes, he's very good. He'll do your stuff.
He's a player that you don't really hear about and you probably haven't heard of if you're not a diehard NBA fan.
Or unless you play fantasy and you need those points, getting boards and stuff like that. But, I think for me, I know we're supposed to pick one for the most sad, most effective.
Just choose one that you think maybe deserves a little bit more.
Jabari. The second time on the same knee. Teams are going to be looking at him very questionable now going forward. I think that sucks for that team because they're all a young team and they're getting their vibes
Chris
going.
Middleton back.
They're just getting their wheels turning really good. And my buddy who lives back in Nebraska, Mick, he actually loves the Bucks, so I'm sure this is devastating for him and he's very bummed for that. But I had Jabari.
That's a nice nickname.
Yeah,
Jabari.
I had Jabari and Rudy Gay on my fantasy teams. They were both averaging like 20 points.
That's a huge hit.
For me personally, those are the biggest hits.
Yeah, and I think sort of the obvious one is Chris Paul. Just by the way just by how much he affects the team that he's on.
Yeah.
I mean, Chris Paul is arguably the best true point guard in the NBA. So I think him being out, that really sucks for the Clippers. But like you said with Jabari, Jabari was really, really hitting his stride. This is what you watch him, and you're like, this is what he can be. He can hit from anywhere on the floor.
Yep, he's
great
footwork. He's starting to hit his jumpers.
And Giannis were really clicking. They had this. They bring in Malcolm Brogdon, the rookie point guard, meshing well. Like I said, Chris Middleton is just now coming back and sucks the same knee.
Yeah. Right
when it happened, most everybody there knew that was kind of going to be it for him.
Yeah.
They're even saying he might be even out for the beginning of next season. So, I hate seeing just terrible ACL injuries, especially for players who have repeat injuries. Because Zach LaVine's his first ACL.
Yeah.
Guys can come back from that, but maybe Zach LaVine, he's the guy who has the spring in his step. You know what I mean? He's the athletic. He's the athletic scorer, dunker. He's known for his dunk content. So you wonder how maybe he'll come back from the ACL. But I think with today's technology and the way teams are able to rehab their players back, I think Zach LaVine will come back, have a great year next year.
Yeah.
Rudy Gay's a little bit older, but I still think, man, when you hear the word ruptured Achilles, doesn't that just brings a shiver to your spine? Oh,
yeah. It sounds just very brutal.
But I mean, Kobe at his age came back from an Achilles injury, so
he wasn't really the same, but he still was effective.
Yeah, so I think Rudy
older.
Gay's still going to have a nice career. If I had to bet, I'd say Pekovic is probably going to retire. A guy his size, he's a big dude,
Chronic
even a
foot
heavy
problems,
dude.
Yeah. That's basic. You're done, and he knows it.
Yeah,
he knows it. He wouldn't be considering retiring if he didn't know.
Right. So yeah, the trade deadline, it's in 2 weeks. There's there's so much trade talk flying around.
Yeah, it is.
But recently, I think it was yesterday? Yeah, yesterday I believe there was a trade that happened, because I like some of the trade speculation is just unwarranted. Like, people don't know. You don't know what's going on.
Yeah.
You're not going to hear about a trade before it happens unless it actually happens. When you see... So the Nuggets traded Jusuf Nurkic. Like I said earlier when I talked about Player of the Week, Jokic. They traded Nurkic. He's a younger guy, good player, can score, can rebound. His efficiency is not the greatest, but he's still younger. He's really going to come into his own. So, but he just didn't fit on the Nuggets.
No.
Mike Malone and him did not have a great relationship. They argued a lot when it comes to, you could see him, Nurkic just didn't mesh. And I think, sorry, I got sidetracked, but the trade, I'll just say the trade right away. Yeah. So the trade, the Nuggets send Jusuf Nurkic and a first-round pick to the Blazers for Mason Plumlee and a second-round pick. So,
and cash.
Yeah, and just cash on the side, right?
And I heard, I was listening to an NBA Lockdown podcast, and Amin El-Hassan was talking, and I guess they renegotiated. I guess you used to be able to just trade picks for money, like all year. You can just get however much you want.
Oh.
And now there's a cap, and it's $3.5 million. So if they received like $2 million in cash, they're only allowed 1.5 for the rest of the year from any other team.
Right. Okay.
In trades and negotiations like that.
But yeah, so how this trade affects each team, I think the Blazers are on a downward spiral right now. Their only two assets are Damian Lillard and CJ McCollum. Yeah. And then their front court is...
And now Jusuf Nurkic.
Yeah, Jusuf Nurkic is a good piece, though. So I think they're just trying...
And they get a first-round pick.
Right. So they're getting a guy that has great potential
and
in Nurkic.
Upside.
Yeah, good upside. Hopefully they'll be able to change sort of his narrative when it comes to he's not going to be that pouty, dirty player anymore.
Yeah.
Maybe he'll be able to really.
He'll feel rejuvenated in a new city.
Right. That's what I'm hoping.
Yeah.
I like to see guys flourish when they get traded. But so on the other side, Mason Plumlee, he's going to move into a bench role because the Nuggets do have Jokic. Mason Plumlee was having a great season. If you do play fantasy basketball, Mason Plumlee's one of those guys he's a very, you don't think of him as a contributor, but with the Blazers, like, my goodness, he does everything. He passes, blocks. He was basically the only guy in their front court that did anything.
Can I say something now?
Yeah, I know it's coming.
I have drafted, for anybody that plays fantasy basketball, I have drafted Mason Plumlee the last 2 years in a row. And I gave him about 2 weeks, and I was like, nope, doesn't work. This isn't a championship. I'm a championship caliber team. That's what my franchise has behind it, and I need to portray that. And he didn't seem like it. But I'm going to let you know, I regret dropping that person,
but now
so bad.
But guess what? Now it doesn't matter because now he's a backup player on the Nuggets.
Now his role's going to go down. So I am happy that I did it this year. But man, I wish I would have held him up to this point because man, he produces in fantasy.
But yeah, but I think for the Nuggets, I think they honestly got the best part of the deal. They lost. Yeah, I think the Nuggets got the best part of the deal only because I think Jokic is now going to flourish even more. He's going to get even more of a chance because Plumlee will be the backup.
True.
And maybe by the end of this year, Plumlee he's owed a lot of money, so the speculation is that they could even cut him or trade him.
Yep.
So he's not a piece of the Nuggets' future. But they did. They just got rid of Nurkic, which is great for Jokic, and I think Jokic is going to be the guy for the next 10, 12 seasons. Yeah. If he stays in Denver, that's going to be the peak. He's the guy. So I think they just don't.
Mason is a solid backup.
He's a great starter. So he's going to play 20 minutes or so off the bench. Yeah, right. He's going to play 20 minutes or so off the bench.
I actually think that the Blazers got the better end of the deal, only because I'm looking at more of short-term, meaning within the next 3 seasons, because with
and they did get rid of that Mason Plumlee money that freed up some space.
They freed up some space with money. They got the first-round pick, so they're going to be able to add a good solid player from the draft.
Mm-hmm.
They're going to have Nurkic, who is a great young.
Yep.
I think he has coachable talent.
Yeah, he has the ability to be a very good player.
With Damian and CJ McCollum there, I think they could build a good chemistry.
Yeah, with Aminu, Evan Turner just got hurt, but...
Yes, and I just think Nurkic's ceiling is higher than Plumlee's, but Plumlee's going to a bench role, so it's almost like you're comparing Nurkic and Jokic.
Right.
Which I wasn't thinking until you said your explanation, so I was kind of like, oh, okay, I see that. But yeah, I was thinking more short term, since the Blazers are more playoff ready than the Nuggets, but the they're all kind of right there.
Now, because like I said, Blazers they've had a little bit of a down season, but maybe this gives them that rejuvenation.
Yeah.
You know?
But
probably one of the biggest names that everybody's talking about. Not necessarily the biggest names, but this is the hot button one because the Orlando Magic, their front court is just stuffed full of players. So,
oh crap! The Blazers have 3 first-round picks now in next year's draft.
See, there you go.
So, dang, the Blazers are sitting good.
Thank you for that one. Yeah, thank you for that stat, Gangsta. That just shows that the Blazers, they're making moves for the future.
Yeah.
And they're getting Nurkic on top of 3 draft picks.
Yeah.
So nothing but good things in the future, hopefully, for the Blazers.
Yeah, definitely.
But yeah, so back to the Magic and Serge Ibaka, because you can see Serge Ibaka for the last few games, you can see it on his face. He does not want to be in Orlando, which
he
makes
was
sense.
with a title contending team, and now he's on a team that's young, still players are all trying to find themselves there, and he's frustrated.
I just don't know what their management's thinking when they bring in Serge Ibaka and then sign Bismack Biyombo when they already have Vucevic.
Yep.
So where are these guys going to get minutes? And like, I just don't. Maybe they're acquiring these assets so that maybe they
to dump them. It's
right,
like
to dump them at the trade
Celtic
deadline,
approach.
which is fine. But I saw a cool stat.
Log says Serge sucks.
About Sir. I mean, yeah, he's reduced himself to a scorer pretty much.
But that's you're seeing what he is there now.
Right, what he is there.
He's not himself there.
But like,
in OKC, he was a great contributor, great role player.
Defensively, he was a menace defensively.
Yep.
But now he's completely just thrown out the defensive end of his game.
Yeah.
He's stepping on threes, he's shooting threes, he still gets rebounds. So it's another one of those things where I think if he gets in a situation that benefits him, I think he's going to buy into the system.
Yeah.
That's all it takes, you think, is a guy like that to just buy into the system.
And they're saying he's likely to be gone by the February 23rd deadline.
I think almost guaranteed he's gone.
Raptors and the Heat are two of the teams that are interested on the East side that I saw.
Yeah,
I personally would like him on the Heat. It would be
because you
awesome.
don't necessarily need him to be a defensive presence.
No.
Just he would stretch the floor. He would
and
be that
he could
third
help
option.
defensively with Hassan, him
Right.
and Hassan, with
that was
Ibaka
Twin
playing
Towers.
more team-centric, and
Yeah.
just, all right, Hassan, just be the wall you want to be down there,
Right.
and Ibaka can
And then
play
you can
the team
step out and
game.
slide and open things up for
Yep.
Dragic. So.
Yeah, but, I mean, also plug him into the Raptors. Those are two teams where he would fit really
Yeah,
good.
he would. Wow, with the Raptors, because
With
the Raptors,
DeRozan and
the only problem really for the Raptors is that 4 spot. It's Patrick Patterson, it's Pascal Siakam. They have Lucas Nogueira, who's kind of a center power forward thing. So I think if that 4 spot could get locked in by Serge Ibaka, I think that would help greatly. But yeah, one cool stat that I saw, or it was an interesting fact about the Magic's front court. 4 players in the Magic's front court are making 8 figures.
Wow.
So it's Jeff Green, Vucevic, Bismack Biyombo, and Serge Ibaka. So Jeff Green's making, I think they said $15 million. And Jeff Green's, I mean, he has been a good player and he's been a good defensive player, but not worth $15 million. So I think they could go along the lines of, I mean, Vucevic, again, is one of those players where if you're not an NBA purist and you don't follow the NBA as closely, you probably don't understand how good of a player Vucevic is, or you don't see them play because they are in Orlando. They don't necessarily have the biggest market when it comes to NBA. So I think they'll deal one. I like Bismack Biyombo still. I think he's a double-double machine. He's a great defender. He's a guy who does buy in on the defensive end of the floor. But I think they're going to deal Serge. I want to see Aaron Gordon slide down to the 4 because it does seem like
That'd be interesting.
Yeah, because he's playing out of position at the 3. He's a more true 4. They have a young guy like Hazonia and stuff. So, yeah, I just think Serge most likely will be gone, in my opinion.
And that good for him. He wants to be in a better spot.
Yeah, I mean, we talked about a little earlier too with Dragic. Dragic probably will stay now. I mean, he's becoming probably their best player. I mean, you could argue Whiteside too, but I think with the ball in his hands, I think Dragic right now is probably a better player than Hassan right this second. So I think he'll end up staying.
Some say that it was blown out of proportion, him leaving anyway.
Right, I could see that, yeah.
But yeah, he's definitely more likely to stay, obviously, with if you look at his play over that 13-game win streak, he was a big component in that win streak, and why would you want to get rid of something that's clicking like that? I also saw that the Cavs, LeBron came out and said he hopes that they can sign Derek Williams to a long-term deal. I'm not sure if that would be like a 10-day, and then give him a long thing, or if it has to be done by the 23rd, where it's like a 10-day, and then you're gonna have to give him something.
I don't think he's gonna do a whole lot for the Cavs.
But they're also interested in Jose Calderon and Andrew Bogut.
No thanks on either.
I just don't think that that's gonna be what I mean. I don't know.
I don't know if that's what's going to put him over the edge.
I think that's just a bigger rumor than it is even.
But then again, if you see what they did last year by bringing in Mozgov and like stuff like that, so maybe that's kind of the trade they're looking for, sort of along the lines of the Andrew Bogut trade.
Yeah,
a rim protector, or just like I said, the Cavs are one of the most active teams in the NBA, and it's because they have LeBron and they're trying to make sure they stay up top. But yeah, so that's going to wrap up the NBA segment. It's a little lengthy, but the NBA is going to be basically the sport that we're all going to be hearing about. This is the time the NBA ramps up.
And this is our favorite sport, basically.
And the All-Star weekend's coming up this weekend. Can't wait to watch it. So NBA's ramping up. NFL's slowing down. So our NBA segment will be our biggest segment. So, but yeah, and we're also going to talk about the golf tournaments when something happens that's noteworthy of talking about. I'll bring it up. So this week. Spieth? Yeah, this week Jordan Spieth at 19 under took the AT&T Pebble Beach Pro-Am. So he played well throughout. He didn't necessarily play over his head. He was very consistent. Some other notable names: Dustin Johnson came in third, and Jason Day in fifth. So overall, the big names played well. Tiger Woods ended up having to withdraw from the next two events because of his back problems. So there's no real timetable for when he'll be back. I know if you're a sports fan, you're rooting for him to come back, because I just hate to see him injured. But
yeah.
So yeah, it's just a quick wrap up of. A cool stat about that win that Spieth just had.
Ninth.
His ninth tournament win. He's youngest, or the second youngest to do it, behind Tiger Woods, and it's just a cool stat because Tiger Woods was 23 years old and 5 months when he won his ninth. Jordan Spieth, 23-year-old, 6 months.
Yeah,
1 month
awesome.
apart. So if
Jack Nicklaus at 24
months. 24.
I mean, look at the company he's in.
Right. So if he has a career that's even
now the next
slightly
get that 10
near that,
get the double digits. I mean,
And I think
if there's numbers up there.
If there's any golfer, I mean, Jason Day's had a great year last year, but I think if there's any golfer that's really gonna push for that major goal, I think it's going to be Jordan Spieth. But so we're going to take a quick break, just like we do halfway through the show. We're going to come back with some disc golf, some gaming segments, and then we're going to answer some questions for you. So hope you stay around, and we'll be back in a few minutes.
Don't forget the disc of the week.
How long was that?
Just so you guys are aware, from now on, if we have any internet issues where we go offline 2 times in a row and we can't get it going, we will be canceling the show on Monday and re-airing Wednesdays in a different location. So if we fail on Mondays, we will be live again on Wednesdays to make up the show. And also, we are brought to you by Iron Lion Disc Golf Supply. Make sure to stop into their shop and get all your disc golf needs taken care of. You can visit them online at their website at www.ironliondgs.com, or you can go to their Facebook page. Just search up Iron Lion Disc Golf Supply, and they can get you hooked up with whatever you need.
To me, disc golf is life.
right, welcome back. Thanks for sticking with us. If you've seen the show before, after the break, we like to go straight into our disc golf segment. So we have some cool things coming up for you guys in the next couple of weeks. We're super excited about it. It is episode 6, but we're starting to move things along. We're going to have a few interviews coming up in the next couple of weeks with a few disc golf players. So, Lip, can you tell us a little bit more about that?
I ended up emailing Innova, just telling them about our show, what we were doing. Asked them to spread the word on to any of their team members that would be interested for a short Skype interview via video or just audio, whatever they would feel comfortable with doing. And had a solid feedback come in return about a week after. And so far, we have 3. I've talked to Jordan Castro, Gregg Barbsy, and Nick Duran, who have all confirmed and would be willing to do the show. So next week will be our first one, and it is going to be, I believe right now it's going to be Barbsy, which is awesome. He's a great guy. I've met him a few times at a couple different tournaments, and he's a very good player to be around. The vibes and energy he gives off, he's just happy-go-lucky.
Seems like everybody in the sport kind of has
he's a legit, he's a good player. I mean, last year, NT at the Steady Ed, he placed 3rd, got 22nd at the Vibram, 13th at the European Masters for the major.
Wow.
I mean, he has respectable placements and some good wins in his career. And Jordan Castro is just starting to kick his career off. He was with Latitude. I mean, he's been in it for a while, but he's very started to gain a lot of recognition over the last couple years, it seems. And he stayed at our crew house for Living Lands and Waters. Met him a couple times with my friend Dan, and Dan also reached out to him and called and talked to him, let him know what we're doing, and he was more than happy to do it. And he's done good. Last year I was looking at his stuff, and 29th at the GBO, 33rd at Kansas City Wide Open. This is all from PDGA.com. 26th at Steady Ed. Won a few tournaments. I mean, he's definitely up and coming, and he's been nothing but improving. So he's going to be somebody that people are going to have to start watching out for in the upcoming future. Along with Nick Duran, he is a 5-time amateur world champion. He's just now getting to the age where he can start really doing pro and pro only, I believe. In 2016, he did Junior Worlds last year, and he placed 2nd. And other than that, he played nothing but Open. So he might do, I'm not sure if he can do AM Worlds again this year or not. We can ask him.
I'm sure we'll get into stuff
Yeah, so we'll get into some stuff with them. Looking very much forward to that. That'll be good for
maybe if the viewers have like a question for him or something.
Yeah, and you guys can even submit some stuff, whatever you guys want to ask them. We can definitely try to get it answered for you. They all seem into it and very excited about it. So
I think a lot of disc golfers, they want to progress their sport. You know, they love their sport. They know that it's sort of an underground type thing, sort of regional based.
And it's starting to get more mainstream. And even though we're small and we're in a little regional area where mainly our friends and family and local people watch the show, it's cool that they're willing to do it just for our area, basically.
Right.
You know, it means a lot to us, and it's awesome. I'm pretty sure Castro and Barbsy. I'm not sure about Castro. I'm sure Barbsy is going to be at the first NT
national tournament.
Yes, national tour. It's February 23rd to 26th. We've talked about it the last couple weeks. I just wanted to give another reminder. There's going to be coverage on it, so be watching YouTube for the spin. The Jomez brothers, maybe the disc golf guy. I'm not sure who's all going to be out there, but there definitely will be footage put up of it. So potentially even live. I'm not sure if they're doing it live or not, but yeah, it's it'll be a good tournament.
And sort of following up on one of our segments, or our disc golf segment last week, with Adidas starting to get more into disc golf.
Yes. Adidas Terex.
A big player is now sponsored by Adidas.
Yeah, Macbeth. He inked an actual cash sponsorship, like a yearly salary. Last year he was given the grassroots deal where he was given apparel and stuff like that, shoes, and it blossomed into something more. And they also picked up more team members. A lot of people on the star team: Jennifer Allen, Big Germ, Nate Sexton, Eagle McMahon. They're all on the grassroots deal now, and a few others that I can't quite remember, but they're all getting the shoes, the clothing, all that stuff now. I mean, Adidas is stepping up. They've noticed big success once Macbeth was endorsing a certain shoe of theirs, and they can really see that disc golf is growing, and it has a big enough following where they're obviously making money on it.
It's worth their investment.
They're not going to be willing to ink him to a deal, add other people to that. They're exclusively working with Innova, basically, and that's it.
Yeah.
It's incredible. It's like the first major company to be believed to sign a disc golfer. I know that like people like Nate Doss and Valerie Jenkins, and I think Avery Jenkins, and some others maybe have been sponsored by Keen. I don't know if there was money involved. I don't. Who knows? They were probably getting free shoes, obviously, but I don't know. Even Macbeth's deal isn't disclosed.
Oh, right.
So we're not really sure what he's getting out of it, but I'm sure they're making it worth his while.
Absolutely.
Well, just like Jared's Player of the Week, I like to do a Disc of the Week. No, it's all good.
Jared's favorite segment, though.
It is.
Yeah, this is Jared's favorite segment. I just thought since I was talking, I'd just transition, but it's all good. This week, we are doing the Discraft Zone. The first few weeks, I've stuck with Innova, because that's mainly what my bag is. So I've just been grabbing stuff out of my bag that I like. This week, I went with a Zone. Very overstable. It's like a Gator. I also carry a Gator in my bag. The Gator has a little bit more distance on it, so if I need it to go a little bit further but have that big hook at the end to just fade out, I know to go to the Gator. The Zone is a little bit shorter. It's good for headwind putts or just windy approach shots, big hyzers.
So is it considered a mid range?
It's
sort of.
It's considered a putt and approach.
Oh, okay.
So I don't know why. I think it's more of a mid range than anything. But I mean, the crystal feels really nice. I've had that one in my bag for probably 3 years or so now.
As you can see, you did a little.
Yeah, I tie-dyed an AK on it. That was when I was really into Call of Duty, so I used the AK a lot. But yeah, I have a few other ones on the shelf. The crystal skips. So sometimes actually I will carry 2 zones and have like an ESP, something a little bit more grippy, so it won't skip as much on the grass or something like that. But it's a good disc to have, and if you're ever in windy or just a short, tight hyzer that you need to do, there you go. That or a Gator.
So Lip's Disc of the Week is the Discraft Zone.
Yes.
It'll push you in the zone to play better.
Boom. There you go. It'll get you in the zone.
Yeah. So to end our segments, at least, we do our gaming segment. I sort of like to turn the gaming segment into maybe like a recommendation segment, or it's just something that I like, maybe a game that I've liked or I've liked playing that maybe is not necessarily super popular or is really on the forefront of gaming at the moment. But sort of my change of pace game lately that I just started playing a lot more is Far Cry. Just the Far Cry series, Far Cry 4 and Far Cry Primal. It's sort of an open sandbox game where it's as far as an open sandbox game, the 4th one is a lot different than the 5th, which is the Primal one. Primal's what I'm playing now. It's sort of you're a tribe and you're set back in like prehistoric times. And there's woolly mammoths, there's saber-toothed tigers, and you have all these rudimentary weapons like a battling club and a spear and bow and arrows, and you could train animals, and it's honestly, the game is captivating. Like,
sounds intense.
It's the movies like that you watch while it's it's so hard to describe if you haven't actually seen it being. Well, you can see it being played right here on our stream, but it's one of those games where the hand-to-hand combat is incredibly intense. You straight up, you're a Native American who has a club with a stone on the top of it, and you just it gives you the ability to just go nuts and just swing this club and then pull out a spear and chuck your spear and
make it go 50 feet.
Yeah, Keith, our producer, he's watched me play it, and as far as playing, it seems like a fun game to watch even while I'm playing it.
Dude, the graphics, dude, what is this guy killing right here? Like chasing after a deer or something.
Yeah. You use certain skins and stuff. You upgrade your weapons, and there's talent trees, and it gives you everything you could want in like a role playing game, and you're set back in this ancient time period. I have never ever played a game that is this smooth, that nails this time period.
Really?
Oh my goodness!
How about when you come up on like a camp, like how you can scout it and stuff.
Yeah, Far Cry. It's built around these different camps that have the enemies. So you can either come in gung ho, shooting arrows, throwing everything and making everything chaotic, or it can push you toward the stealth range. You throw little rocks and lead people out, and take them out really slow, and then once you take out a whole village, and you get bonus XP when you do it stealth wise, and
you murder an entire village.
So if you're trying to get a change of pace type game, a lot of cool hand-to-hand combat, really great landscapes. Graphics are awesome. A bunch of different animals. I'm telling you, if you can't tell that I'm a fan,
looks awesome.
I'm forever a fan of the Far Cry franchise.
Like he's in the mountains. It's so cool.
Yeah, it's beautiful. That's one of the things.
That's what I mean.
Awesome.
It also kind of makes you feel like you're really like getting away.
Yes.
You're like out in the wilderness.
You're out in the middle of the wilderness.
That in VR would be insane.
Yeah. Didn't even think about that. That'd be great.
Yeah. It's such a cool environment. Good game. Good mechanics. Clean. The combat's very, very smooth and not glitchy. So, like I said, if you have a change of pace game or anything, if you're trying to maybe switch up your style of games that you play, at least look into Far Cry Primal. Maybe Far Cry 4 is more of your, just because it's more gun-based and it's not in this ancient period of time. But I just thought it was cool. I just thought it was cool because it's a totally different game. There's no other game out like it. So that would probably be one of my change of pace games. Just something that maybe you guys would play and you'd like.
Yeah. Well, we are actually going to give our friend Log a quick call. He's going to chat with us about Horizon Dawn something. I forget what he said. I actually left my phone right here real quick.
So we're going to give him a call. He knows
Horizon Zero Dawn.
Video games inside and out. He has better insight than probably both of us. So, and I believe it's a PS4 game, but yeah, he'll get more into it. So. We're gonna wait for him to answer, and then just we'll let him take over. So,
yo, Log.
Hello.
Hey, sir. How's it going?
What's up? Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you good.
How's it going?
Pretty good.
So, what you got a game for us here? You want to talk about? Let us know what you got here.
Well, first I'm gonna talk Overwatch because I know with this.
All right.
Big aspect of this show, we all kind of play it.
Yeah,
I just want to talk a little bit about an upcoming character that'll probably be released here soon.
Oh,
Overwatch
this is breaking news to me. I didn't know this.
Character-based game, yeah. So the deal is, there's this new Doomfist character that's probably coming out. He's actually was announced when the first trailer was shown. He was in that first trailer where Widowmaker and Reaper were trying to steal his hammer, and then Winston and Tracer jumped in to save him.
The little kid with the cast.
Yeah, the little kid puts it on and punches Widowmaker.
Yeah.
So he's been around since the very beginning, but there's a lot of stuff on the PTR right now, the public test realms. There's a bunch of stuff, patch notes going on. They're messing with Bastion and a bunch of stuff like that, but we're not going to talk about it right now. And some of the stuff they found is on the Numbani map, if anyone who actually plays Overwatch knows what I'm talking about. It's a payload escort map, and on the map you are actually escorting the Doomfist weapon. Some data miners have found in an upcoming patch that the payload has been broken, and the Doomfist weapon gauntlet is gone.
So he's about to be released.
Yeah,
that's dope.
So hinting at someone is getting the hammer back, and someone's going to be taking the mantle of Doomfist.
Of course.
Another interesting aspect of it is Overwatch likes to do these holiday events. You know, they've done Halloween, Christmas, stuff like that.
The Olympics.
What was that?
The Olympics.
Yeah, the Olympics one. They didn't do one for Valentine's Day, and they said they're not gonna do one for Easter because they came out and said they don't want to be limited to only doing holidays.
Right? They don't want to get roped into that.
Yeah. And so they've said they're not going to do the next two, but one event that they have kind of talked about is this Unity Day kind of type thing, which in the Overwatch lore is kind of a theme on Numbani. Numbani is kind of this futuristic city where the Omnics, the robots, and humans, they like live in harmony and stuff like that. And so Numbani has a big kind of connection to Doomfist with the whole payload escorting the weapon to the museum and everything. And so on the PTR, someone else has found some new menu music, some kind of ominous, evil, villainous type menu music, kind of implying a Doomfist type Unity Day event sort of thing coming up. Cool. So that's the speculation online on all the forums right now, that we will probably sometime within the next few weeks, or probably next few weeks, getting some new Unity Day kind of event type thing with Doomfist being the main aspect of it.
That's cool.
So hopefully Overwatch will be getting a new character. And side note, it may or may not be voiced by Terry Crews, the famous actor of Old Spice commercials and other bouncing pecs guy.
Peck bouncer, yeah.
Dude, that would be hilarious to hear, because they have the characters. For those of you that don't play the game, the characters have the most random interactions, like before matches and stuff, and it'd be funny to hear his voice like utilized in that.
Yeah, it would be great if they could get some more big name kind of for their characters.
Yeah, that would be cool.
Yeah, that's him right there. Yeah. Oh, nice producing, Keith.
Trying to go on the.
But yeah, so a little bit on Overwatch, and that's more than I could ever even.
Wow, yeah, that was some insight.
That's great. That was great stuff. But
we were coming in tonight like, what should we talk about for our gaming segment type deal?
That's all we
the
need to
show
do.
was starting.
But yeah, so we hear you have another game for us as well, right?
So yeah, that was Overwatch. That was something more towards all of us.
Right.
Our excitement going. I'm gonna switch gears a little bit and switch to a PlayStation 4 exclusive coming out. I know none of you guys have a PlayStation except for me, but this game, Horizon Zero Dawn, coming out is going to be the next big game, like franchise-wise.
Right. What's it like?
In the video game industry. So it is a action role-playing, open-world kind of type game, where it's set in a dystopian, futuristic time where humanity has kind of devolved into a Far Cry kind of aspect, like very tribe-based and bow and arrows and stuff.
Their graphics look amazing.
They're next-level graphics.
The wildlife is all robotic. For some reason, there's robotic wildlife that has kind of taken over and live in harmony with these humans who have kind of devolved back into this tribe aspect. They have a little technology and stuff like that, but that they just kind of harvest from these robots.
From the beasts.
And it's just this big kind of mystery as to what in the hell happened. It's just a very unique take on the kind of open world.
Yeah, there's a robotic like crab or something I'm looking at right now.
Yeah, there's like robotic T-Rexes and kind of these like giant giraffe kind of type.
And I'm assuming it's going to have sort of the talent tree based type things and stuff like that,
yes.
right?
It takes aspects from a lot of games. It's very RPG based. You level your stuff up. There's different weapons you can make. There's a whole crafting system.
See, that's...
It's a lot like Far Cry, where there's just this big open map, and there's the main missions, but then there's tons of side quests and tons of caves and stuff, collectibles, and it takes the best features of multiple games and puts them all together. It has won so many like E3 awards and stuff for best looking games. I mean, you guys are probably showing the graphics right now.
Yeah, we got it. We're watching it just along with the viewers.
Yeah, we're watching it with the viewers, but I mean, gosh, it looks so awesome. It makes me wish I had a PS4.
And I think that's probably what they're going for. They want that next big franchise to draw people to buy the PS4.
In all honesty, it was one of the deciding factors when I bought my PS4. I bought it this past
God of War.
Thanksgiving, knowing that this game would be coming out in a few months, and I was going to want to play it.
When does it actually come out?
It comes out February 28th, 2 weeks from tomorrow.
Wow, so we're coming up on it, and I'm assuming you will be purchasing it when it comes out.
What was that?
I'm assuming you will be purchasing it the day it comes out.
Oh, absolutely.
That's awesome.
I'll probably go get it at midnight when it comes out.
Awesome. Really appreciate your take. I know you have a lot of better insight when it comes to just overall video games in general, so we really appreciate you taking our call, and we'll probably have you on for future segments.
Yeah. Thanks for letting me just kind of ramble for a little bit.
Yeah, no problem.
Yeah, it was awesome, man.
All right. Yeah. Well, thanks for calling me. Maybe we'll do this again sometime.
All right. That sounds good, man. Thank you, Log.
All right. See ya.
All right, so we're gonna try and do that as much as we can when it comes to our gaming segment, because as you could hear, he knows as much as anybody that I know about these games. So his takes are great. So whenever we have a game, maybe if Lip's playing a game that he likes, or like I said with Far Cry, or maybe even if Keith has something that he wants to bring up, our gaming segment's gonna be pretty fluid. We kind of just want to bring up what we can about games and just sort of give people who like sports and want to watch the show, sort of give them a little insight on games, and just because that's something that we like to do. It's something that we like to do in our pastime. So, so that'll be our gaming segment.
Yeah, I mainly I played Overwatch a decent amount this last little week. I mean, I played a couple games with Log, like over the weekend, or I'm not sure when it was, but it was. I haven't really played anything new.
That's why I'm happy we have Log. Like
that little spot he just did there was awesome. But yeah, we are going to probably wrap it up for tonight. That'll do it for episode 6. We will
show
be
live. Smooth, awesome.
Yeah, no internet. It definitely was my wireless card that just wasn't good. We got the Ethernet cable, and it's awesome. And just another reminder, if we have internet issues and our internet cuts out 2 times trying to get the live feed going, we are going to just cancel the show for that night and re-air Wednesday at a different location. I confirmed Luke Lloyd's Paulify. We show his Twitch stream a lot. Your brother, he said we can rent out a room in his upstairs for our studio whenever we need it. So if we have internet issues, we will re-air on Wednesdays at his place.
Because we want this to be a live show.
We don't like the recording. We want the live.
It feels more genuine. It comes out more genuine from us when we know that people are watching live. We know that it is streaming live and it's happening right now.
Yep.
So that's the show is a live show. So we're gonna keep doing it like this. Each week we feel like we're getting better. Things are coming together a lot more, and it's become something that we really look forward to. So we appreciate everybody who watches.
Again, look forward to the Gregg Barbsy, Jordan Castro, Nick Duran, and Craig Nettleship. I forgot to mention him. He is an ambassador for Innova. We'll get him on there, and he'll talk about how the sport has changed, how it's grown, what he's doing to help grow it in his area, things like that. So be looking for those, and we'll catch you guys next week.
Thank you for watching.
See ya.
Yeah, dude. Right at 1 hour and 22.